What can we do, I mean, the Nigerian government, to ensure that the gap is not seriously felt? Last week we had a NEMA representative on this platform to talk about what they are doing. But one challenge also he mentioned is fund is not always available. We have the Security Trust Fund in Lagos, for instance, that's been very successful, getting the private sector to participate. Is it possible we begin to open up and get private sectors to participate in humanitarian services so that we don't have this serious backlash?
It's one of the pathways to bridge the funding gap. But even the private sector is crying. The rising cost of operational cost has been huge. Because the private sector you want to go to, themselves are facing an existential problem. I don't want to mention certain brand names, but you know, the reason why there are tariff increases on telecommunication is because they are also recording losses. Is there a company that is recording loss that you want to come and contribute to? And they are already contributing to tertiary education. You know, the TED fund is also drawing, is it 1% or 2% from their profit? They are paying taxes, and they are already complaining about numerous taxes. I recall that part of the joker of why the federal government is pushing for the tax reform bills is to streamline the taxes that the corporate sector pays from about 49 to maybe about 8 or 9. And until then, this is still in the works. Until then, the complaint is that federal authorities will come, collect tax, states will come, local government will come, and it's eroding the profit margin of the corporate world. And so, while it is a welcome development that there could be a humanitarian trust fund, we cannot, in good conscience, I'm not a business owner, but I want to say that we cannot be too optimistic about their positive response. So government on its own have to be prudent in the management of resources and prioritize humanitarian aids. The heavy lifting hitherto has been done by the UN agencies that are operating here, the UNOPS, the UN Office of Humanitarian Refugee and UNOCHR and the rest of them. But now they have not much resources to spend in Nigeria and 8 other countries. So for government, what I would just advise is that government will have to look at the federation account and set up, maybe that trust fund should not be intergovernmental trust fund, where local government will chip in part of their monthly allocation, the state will chip in, because you can't overload the federal. Federal is carrying the burden of funding security. You know, it's on the exclusive legislative list. Whatever the governors are doing is just on compassionate ground. They are not compelled by the law to support federal institutions, but they are doing it nonetheless. So if you now say you want to put that burden again on the federal government, it might be too much, because different critical sectors are crying for attention. And you know, if you listen to every budget defense, the number one recurring factor is that every minister, every DG, every executive secretary goes to the National Assembly and says, we are not having enough resources to do our work. So where will that resource come from? But we need to prioritize. What I would advise is that the push factor, the causative factors that lead to humanitarian challenges, we need to fix it. If we don't fix it, it's like a leaking roof. If you are mopping a leaking roof, it's not going to stop the leakage. So the best thing is, what are those push factors that made people to be displaced from their ancestral home, from becoming refugees outside of this country? There are hundreds of thousands of Nigerians in Cameroon, in Niger Republic, in Chad. they have not been brought in because it costs a lot to resettle people. And they already, look at the Benue crisis now. It has created another IDP. They have to be fed. And these are people who are contributing to the economy before the crisis. So now they are now depending on aid. And unless government at all levels find it, make a commitment as a priority to stop the security challenge in a way that, you know, and there are plethora of literature on how this can be done. It's just the political will that is lacking. If we don't stop that causative factor that made people to be displaced and to now rely heavily on humanitarian aids, no matter if you put the entire budget of the country on humanitarian, it will continue to expand. Because where you have, maybe in the budget you made provision for 200,000 people to give them starter packs, to give them food, to give them whatever. And then less than 2 months into the new year, another crisis broke up. And then you have another 500,000 people displaced. How do you can't continue to play that kind of catch-up.
So which means